Welcome back to Clark Park, Tucson, Arizona. My name is David Vincent, alongside Dave Fink for this WPH Outdoor Three-Wall Icebreaker Challenge number 9. Tracy Davis gets that first serve. Women's finals between Davis and Ashley Moler.
Ashley Moler, Dave, finds herself in her third icebreaker final. Ashley has been in all 3 women's icebreaker finals. She's aiming for her second icebreaker title, which would be the most for any women's player.
Is this still considered the golden sombrero when you're in your third? You get the golden jersey and the golden sombrero?
Wow. Now, are these just hypothetical yellow jerseys, or are these being made and passed out?
They're absolutely not being made.
Okay.
But hypothetically, they look really good on you.
Yes.
Slimming.
I don't like the fit of my hypothetical yellow.
And
I know you hear that a lot about the actual yellows, but I'm actually don't like the fit of my hypothetical. Not the right material for me.
I'm actually surprised they're playing this over. Tracy got hit by the ball. Mm-hmm. She hit it right back at herself, and they're just playing it over.
Tracy had a grueling 3-game win, Dave, earlier today against Michaela Mitchell. 3 games, 21-19 in the first game, 21-16 in the second game. Tracy wins that in the tiebreaker 11-5. Very long match in these hot conditions. We'll see how Tracy reacts to that. She's coming from Northern California, where the temperatures are probably about 40 degrees cooler.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that match earlier that Tracy won, and I could not believe the long rallies between Michaela and Tracy. Side outs, they were trading punches in there today.
Tracy built a big lead in that second game and held off Michaela, similar to the third, where Tracy got up 10-1 in the tiebreaker to 11. Michaela was coming back and just could not sustain her momentum, ended up losing, but Tracy's got to be feeling the effects of that right now. On the court for about 2 hours there, Dave, and she's right back at it here in the final. And I bet she wishes that shade covered all of the court instead of just about 15% of it. Ashley, on the other hand, Dave, as we watch this rally, played one of the strangest matches you've ever seen. 21-1 in the first game. She defeats Sienna Nisharine. Loses the second game 21-19, then wins the tiebreaker 11-0.
Yeah, that's a strange box score.
And I don't think Ashley's going to be feeling any kind of fatigue from that match. The tiebreaker took about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Score is 4-4 here, Dave. First game.
I'd like to see Ashley do more of that kill shot stuff up front with authority.
Well, Dave, we went ranching with Ash after the last icebreaker, where she lost 15-13 in the final to Michaela, led 13-10 in that third game, and she was not happy. You and I both saw that, and I think she's coming to this event with a lot of extra motivation. Particularly, Dave, I think when she saw that draw and matched up against Sienna in the first round. Sienna's the number 2 player in the women's race for 8, and Ashley outscored her by about 30 points. And Dave, if that's a football game, the third string is in by the third quarter.
Yeah, I can see where she could probably, think about that tournament for the last week and a half or so, and come in here and want to try to, make a statement. In my talks with her, I know it did not settle well, that loss.
Ashley is 2 points from being undefeated in icebreaker action, but instead she's got a chance to take the lead with most titles. Tracy has not won an icebreaker title yet, probably one of the first outdoor tournaments she hasn't won yet. This is her second start.
She's already done better than she did in the first one.
The first one she went winless, 0 wins in 2 matches. She's one of just 3 or 4 players without a win in icebreaker history coming into this event. Of course, she's off the schneid now after defeating Michaela Mitchell, our last women's icebreaker champion. Nowhere to hide in these events, Dave. You're probably going to be facing a champion right off the bat in these events.
Yeah, they're really tough. But what a great tune-up for the 3-wall nationals. And I believe I heard that they are going to hold those in Toledo this year.
Yeah, I don't look at these as tune-up events, Dave.
I do.
Okay. That's the difference.
Everything's a tune-up for everything else that comes after it.
That's true. You are a promotions guy, always looking ahead. That was a segue for you to start talking about the upcoming icebreakers. I'm glad you didn't take it.
I didn't do it.
That's a beautiful serve from Tracy out the door. That ball just disappears. Perfect spot with that beautiful natural hop away from Dr. Ashley. And there's another great serve, just inches from the line. 2 straight aces for Tracy Davis, who scored 5 straight points here, Dave, coming back from 7-4. Almost gets another ace. Big setup here. And it's a first strike kill with a stiff arm left. Nice run here for Tracy.
Yeah, I like how she rolls through that ball and keeps it down with the paddle. Might want to circle that one on the scorecard.
Nice return there from Ashley. Anytime you can put some power on the return, force your opponent to hit the ball out of the air from shoulder height, you're in a good spot. That was the longest ride of the match there, 13 shots. Tracy makes an overhand air there.
That's 2 out of 3 to 21.
And that was the players' call, Dave. They voted on that. I was surprised, given the heat and the number of matches they'd be playing. But almost unanimously, they said they wanted 21-21-11 as opposed to 15s or even one game.
Yeah, in this heat, you'd think that they'd want lower scoring, but I think maybe just the fans wanted the lower scoring.
What players are looking at, Dave, like, I've trained for this event, I've come all this way. I don't want to let one hot streak from my opponent dictate the outcome. So they want to play as long as possible. As you know, Dave, when you think you're the better player, you want the match to be longer. The longer match always favors the better player. And of course, all these great champions playing in this event come here expecting to win. So why wouldn't they want to play longer matches?
Somehow Tracy made that to the front court. She was a little reluctant there, I think.
Well, Ashley hit a nice punch fist, drove Tracy back, but Tracy just gets her left hand on it and rolls out in front of Ashley there. And each time Tracy has hit that serve deep and anywhere within a foot of the back line, it has not come back. You tell yourself, just hit this ball close to that back line, and there's another one, but doesn't always make it there. 2 quick points, though, for Tracy. It's, of course, not between the players because so much camaraderie has been built in this event and previous events. This is actually between
when you ref
someone
your
who's
own,
calling the score.
You ref your own like this. That camaraderie is built.
Right.
And it's still being built.
It never stops.
Nice shot right there.
And I know you're asking for a screen there, but you don't see that called in camaraderie matches.
No, but I do believe it was a screen.
Well, I think players want that shot because they know when you're crossing, you're out of position and open to a drive back down the right.
That was a great serve.
That looked in.
Score now 9-13, game number 1, going to 20. Women's final of Icebreaker number 9.
And that was out?
I believe it was in, and I believe that's a side out.
Okay.
And if it is, it's one of the greatest shots you'll see out here. That ball just hit the left wall and went out sideways.
We talk about this and write about this a lot, Dave. These two literally meet up, and that was out.
Okay.
These two meet up in every single tournament in which they're both entered. It's either the finals or the semifinals or the 5th place playoffs. They find their way to one another. They did it in the first Icebreaker, Dave, where Ashley defeated Tracy in a tiebreaker. Now here they are in the finals here.
And it's not a recent thing. This was like 9 years ago.
Well, I was looking back at some very old draws. 2010 at Plummer, they're playing. It might have started before that. They also were former sparring partners in Tucson when Tracy lived here.
Right.
You'd have to say they've played 200 or 300 matches against each other. Probably 50 in tournaments alone.
Not sure how Tracy could have missed that.
Well, Tracy built a pretty nice lead there, 14-9, now trailing.
She had
13-9, now trailing 14-13. And Ash is on a roll here.
This is where Tracy should call a timeout.
What would that do?
Well, maybe break some of this momentum right now. Ashley's in a system, so she's scoring at will. Maybe taking a timeout might get her to think about her daughter or other things that are happening here at the facility.
That was not a good error from Tracy. That was a mediocre serve. Now that's a very tough serve to handle.
Tracy playing that on the short hop. I thought she was going to come in and take it. Decided to go backwards, and that ball just ate her up.
Well, look at that great power from Ashley Moler with her left, driving from the back line all the way back to the back line cross court. Players talk about, particularly the ones coming from out of town, how fast these courts are. We've heard that a lot from the California players.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's the actual physical aspects of the court itself or the altitude.
Or the heat and the combination of all those things. And that's frustrating. One of the easiest shots in this game, and Tracy hits it 6 feet long.
Yeah, it seems when Tracy goes up top like that. She's either going over the roof or hitting that facade. She's not really making it to the front wall. And this is a big turnaround. You said earlier it was 9-13 in favor of Tracy. Now it's 18-13, 9-0 run for Ashley Moler. And another missed left hand from Tracy.
Well, the Moler maniacs are going crazy right now. Bleachers are socially distanced, of course, Dave, but very much enjoying this comeback and potential first game win for their charge.
You hear the referee calling the score had it wrong. We had it right on our scoreboard. He thought it was 20. It's really 19. I like that shot right there. A roundhouse ceiling from Moler. And then she misses the easy one down the right.
This is Tracy's opportunity to climb back into this first game. You have to think she needs at least 4 or 5 right now.
Oh, there's one right there. That's a sneaky point.
That's a beautiful serve. We've seen that serve thousands of times. And Tracy had a pretty good look twice at ending this rally, but didn't put the ball down.
I'd like to see Tracy square up better with her left hand instead of pointing her left foot forward, just flipping her whole weight around, her whole body around.
It's definitely successful in hitting that top fence, that open stance.
And there's another point. And Ashley Moler takes it here in game number 1, 21-14. She had a 13-1 run there to end that game number 1. It's a WPH Icebreaker Challenge number 9, women's finals in Tucson, Arizona at Clark Park. Game number 2 is now coming up next. My name is Dave Vincent alongside Dave Fink here. If you want to get involved in the Icebreaker Challenges, give us a ring. info@wphlive.tv. info@wphlive.tv. Trying to follow all of the protocols during the pandemic. Make sure the players stay safe as well as the fans and those that are adminning this tournament. We are holding them throughout the summer, even though it's blistering hot. We'll try to accommodate by getting you on the court early, though. And a pretty quick side out.
There's a lot going on, Dave, at Clark Park. You've got Scott Cleveland and Conman Jim working the barbecue. But I'll tell you, Dave, when Dr. Ashley plays, everything stops. Her Tucson faithful fans are courtside, and they are not missing a point.
And they're watching this as well. Yeah, she's loved. Nice play right there from Tracy Davis.
That's the skinny V. Worked out perfectly. 3-0 now for Tracy. Trying to force a tiebreaker. She lost game 1 in the semifinals against Ashley in the previous Icebreaker. Seeing if she can come back and win game 2 like she did a few weeks ago. Saw Tracy between games. She looked like she was suffering from the heat. We'll see if she's able to bounce back here. She's off to a good start, but makes the air there.
Is it 03? 02.
Our scorekeeper, Dave, is
Not good.
okay. Well, we're not naming names, so we can go ahead and say that he definitely has a hard time counting.
Well, the person handling our scoreboard knows what they're doing.
Oh, he's excellent, amazing, actually.
He'll be the first to tell you.
Yes. And if you have 2 or 3 hours, he can also tell you all about birds, photography, and maybe even throw in some conspiracy theories.
Doubt that.
I thought that was taking it too far.
That was taking it too far.
Pretty amazing, though, Dave, what the WPH has been able to do safely, all within the CDC guidelines during the past 6 months. This is the 9th Icebreaker event. 19 different pro players have played. We're also now holding contender qualifier brackets, featuring up to 21, even more players aspiring to climb into this Icebreaker ranks.
And every single one, to include the fans, all followed protocols.
That's right. I mean, Dave, I know a lot of people saw you and were trying to give you a big bear hug, but, you know, you said...
I led with my elbows.
That's right. I did not have that problem.
That's true. Even before the pandemic.
Not before or now.
Yep. Tracy looks completely exhausted. Not as exhausted as she looked in the middle of the tiebreaker against Michaela earlier in the semifinals, but she looks like she's spent. Nice powerful return there from her, though.
Well, Tracy played 2 great shots there. Anytime you can drive the ball high over that WPH outdoor sign with power, you've hit a pretty good shot from the backcourt. What a serve.
It's a great serve.
When you hit the ball overhand, it's going to hit the court and bounce up so high. In a lot of ways, that makes the return much tougher. I think Tracy does the right thing, taking that overhand serve out of the air. I think if you can take that overhand serve out of the air, better than letting it bounce.
I agree with
server's
that.
definitely not expecting it, and they don't really have time to even turn around to set up for another shot. So even if you don't hit a perfect shot, it can pay dividends. Letting that ball bounce is scary, particularly to your offhand.
2-serve-7 here in game number 2, going to 21, and a long wait from Tracy.
Yeah, I remember the last time Tracy waited this long at the 2009 RFC, 10-10 in the tiebreaker, going to 11. She was called for a time violation and a side out. Not the case here, though.
Well, she still had a chance then in that match.
Well, yeah, she could have run the side out. Her opponent, however, hit a cracked serve that rolled out flat, so she didn't get the chance.
So she lost then.
That's
on the cracked serve.
Yes, on the cracked serve.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ashley just elects to try to catch that ball instead of hitting it over her head.
Well, that's local knowledge right there. That's knowing at Clark Park you'd rather catch it than dig under the bleachers. I think it's easier to find a golf ball in the middle of the woods than under these bleachers here. Oh, what happens down there, Dave.
I don't know either.
It just disappears.
You can see underneath it 100% from anywhere you want to stand, except when a handball's underneath there.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's completely lost. You can have 20 people looking for it. You can't find it.
These fans are so into this match, but once those balls go into the bleachers, that all of a sudden they're just not paying attention. They just don't seem to know it's there.
Tracy's questioning whether or not that's in or out, but it was in.
Okay. Great serve. 8-3, I believe, Dave.
Yeah. I like that ball.
Beautiful fly kill.
Now we're at 10-3 here in game number 2.
Ashley has outscored Tracy 22-4 since trailing 13-9 in the first game. 22-4, Dave.
Yeah, that's incredible. Tracy did not play that ball correctly.
Just would have never expected that with Tracy leading 13-9. Not to say that Ashley didn't have a good chance to win the match, but you didn't see this kind of turnaround coming.
Now Ashley is scoring points fast. See the shoulders drop from Tracy there.
Well, it's very deflating when you're getting outscored 6-1.
You know, it's hard to explain it to somebody, but if you're out there trying to compete like this in the sun, it's just a whole different feeling altogether. It's different than being exhausted indoors. It's just defeating. And if you make a couple errors, you know, I keep saying this, but the game's so fun to play that when it's not fun anymore, you just don't want to play anymore.
So you're saying people have fun playing?
I mean, I do.
Wow. Inside out tomahawk overhand fist.
And it looked like she was going for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was a missed hit, that'd be one thing, but it looked like she was actually aiming over there.
Okay.
And another ball going up to the roof. Doesn't make it to the front wall. I mean, even the guy calling the score is starting to slur his words out in the sun.
Ashley now 5 points from taking her second Icebreaker championship. And Michaela, Dave, got used to the spotlight. She wants to make sure that she's a part of this.
Yeah, she got a little bit of a dose of that TV time that people talk about. Now she wants to be in front of it every time. I don't blame her.
Yeah. They say fame is addicting. Through 9 Icebreakers, Dave. 6 players from Arizona, 6 from California.
Well, that's nice.
19 total. I'll never know where Lucho Cordova's from, so I'm not sure. I count him as Mexico, but then you disagree with me, so I just don't know.
Well, he was born in Juarez.
Okay. So 6 different states represented amongst the 19 players in 2 countries. If I count Lucho as Mexico.
Well, you should. That's where he's from.
But you said it's where you live.
When did I do that?
On the rankings.
Okay.
It's a big
Well, it depends.
email thread.
If you lose, and you're from a state that I don't like,
okay,
then that's where. Then you get the acronym, the abbreviation.
Okay.
If you win, then you go with the state that I do like, and you get that abbreviation.
Yeah, now it's starting to make sense. So, in terms of icebreakers, is Killian from Ireland or from Massachusetts?
Did he win or lose?
He won.
And he's from Boston.
Okay. Sure, these ladies are really enjoying this discussion here in the midst of this.
It clears up a 15-year issue, I'm sure.
I feel a little bit more confused now.
I've always been open. If somebody asked, I'd give them the answer. I mean, it's not like I hid that.
No, you didn't.
(17-4). When Tracy hits that roof, she has a pretty good success.
Well, that was one of the first times she's hit the wall from back there. She had been hitting the facade or the fence.
She's completely exhausted here.
There's no way that Tracy's thinking about winning this game or playing another game.
Look at Tracy after hitting that shot. She collapses into that left wall. I played on these courts last Thursday in a real match.
Okay.
And it is completely exhausting. Of course, now it was 97 degrees at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's kind of understandable. I have a feeling that even if it was 65 degrees, it would have been exhausting for me. So I know the struggles that they go through. You try to get the ball back, and it's just overwhelming hot. If you're not used to it, it's completely foreign. I'm sure Tracy isn't training in this type of weather.
Ashley steps in and takes that shot on the way up, drives it with a lot of power to Tracy's left. I don't think Ashley's aiming to hit the right side wall there on that serve.
I think she's trying to push it out the door,
Right.
like that right there. And you see a lot of breaks here. That's our producer screening the camera from people walking in front of it. Figured that a blank blue screen like that is better than people walking by. And there's that win for Ashley Moler, who brings down Tracy Davis in 2. She wins the game number 2 by the score of 21-7.
Ashley, now a 2-time women's icebreaker champion. That's more than any other woman who's participated. So congratulations to Ashley.
Yeah, congratulations out to her. Icebreaker number 9 wraps up. For Dave Fink, I'm Dave Vincent. Thanks for tuning in here at Clark Park with the World Players of Handball.